And now to cap off the show, Peacemaker released its final episode of its first season this past Thursday. And fresh off the events of James Gunn's The Suicide Squad, Peacemaker comes home only to be recruited by a secret government agency to combat a clandestine threat to humanity. The show, of course, was created by James Gunn himself, and he directs and writes most of the episodes, and this has him written all over it. This is him in his most authentic form. You know, it has its signature twisted sense of humor, characters riffing off each other, constant pop soundtracks being put into these episodes. I think I said when we did our first impressions after the first couple of episodes came out, I'm like, he's not just creating soundtracks in like episodes, he's creating mixtapes, right? Because you look at this, you look at Suicide Squad, you look at Guardians of the Galaxy, the soundtracks are just like all over YouTube, right? So the soundtracks of his stuff are always such a big deal. It's very violent, very gory, and it has a very kinetic pace and energy to it too. The show moves very, very well, and it's very rewarding to see what he can do when he's given free reign.
Absolutely. So, like, this show, I did not... Oh, man, this is so weird because I actually like the character Peacemaker now. I like him a
Same
bit
here.
more because just... And this is why I love series. You get to go into the psychological aspects of certain characters a lot more and deeper, understand their history, why they're like this, why they're like this. And this show, I think, has so much good action, but more importantly, it had heart. You can tell there was love and care put into the show, put into even some of these characters, and created a great dynamic between every single one of them, and honestly, even memorable moments and memorable long performing jokes that just lasted throughout the season and etc. And I think what James Gunn did with a character like Peacemaker, because I remember him talking about the Suicide Squad and how he was pitching this character to John Cena. He was like, basically kind of thinking of this character as evil Captain America. And I was like, that is an interesting way to pitch this character. But at the same time, as you watch it, especially from the Suicide Squad and even now, you can just get a sense of just how much hatred this guy has, how much he was also willing to do, but also the softness he has and how he is a human being. Just he had a really terrible upbringing, and that affected him psychologically and how he acts and treats towards people. It's all a cause and effect that I think James Gunn did so beautifully in this show that makes you really wonder on even other characters and their upbringings maybe. And you get glimpses of that. You get glimpses of that in Abadayo, and I absolutely love her. Danielle Brooks, she's great in the show. Especially with what they were going for. But with Peacemaker specifically, his character, you really get a sense of how much of an asshole he was in the beginning and how more considerate and selfless he is at a later date. You see that character growth. You feel the character growth because of certain things that happen to him and even certain revelations that he's now more aware of that makes him like, I can't be like my dad as, other people think I might be.
Yeah, and again, like I said, there's definitely a lot to this character. There's a lot more into this character than I would have anticipated at the beginning of the show. I think John Cena did a terrific job playing him. He was very him and his character, again, very charismatic. He's a very charismatic, funny, and entertaining lead. He nails all the light moments, but also all the serious moments too. I truly, like I said, I loved what they did with this character. And going back to what you're saying about everything that went on with Peacemaker and his father, I thought his father was a terrific villain. He was just a monster of a human being that I couldn't get enough of, and he's essential in Peacemaker's development, and I love the conclusion of his character too, and how it kind of relates to Peacemaker moving forward as well. I really loved what they did and how they displayed that on the screen. Really, again, terrific villain, bigoted asshole, terrible father. But at the same time, it's strange. There's still a complexity to him, too, because, again, he's as bad of a person and bad of a father as he was and is and definitely ends up being. It's strange because, again, this isn't too much of a spoiler, he's given Peacemaker, a lot of his gear, too. So it just makes you wonder, too. It makes you wonder, too, how differently Peacemaker would have ended up if his father didn't, quote, support him in that matter. But I thought Robert Patrick did an amazing job as Augie Smith. He, like I said, just a monster of a human being. I loved every scene that he was in. Loved it. I think the other standout to me in terms of casting characters in the show, Freddie Stroma as Vigilante. Oh my God,
he great.
He was hilarious.
So
he was
stupid.
hilarious. He was very eccentric in a very nerdy type of way.
Mm-hmm.
I think you could kind of classify him as a psychopath, but maybe I'm wrong. But I thought that he was also just a great foil. His nerdy sort of eccentricism that he had. I feel like he was a great foil to Peacemaker, sort of beefy bravado or whatnot. Seeing the two of them on screen together, I thought they had terrific chemistry, and I thought they bounced off of each other so well.
Oh, absolutely. It is weird because as I'm watching this with Vigilante, I'm like, yo, I like this character so much. And a part of me is like, what other role could this guy be? And the first thing I thought of was, I could see him as Peter Parker. It's so weird. I thought Vigilante played also a central part to Peacemaker when it comes to, I think, friendships and bond and the willing to love and etc. And you can see how Vigilante is so open to a lot of those things, but he has his own odd twist to things that Peacemaker is just not that Peacemaker just doesn't want to do that. It's almost like Vigilante embodies the Peacemaker inside of him that was from probably the Suicide Squad, that is just this idiot, bubbly sort of character in a way, takes things a bit maybe not necessarily too serious because that's not Vigilante, but he embodies just the real psychopathic nature of not having emotion and feeling probably towards killing people, whereas he's beginning to feel like that. And I think this goes into the Suicide Squad, the movie, when a certain moment happens. I don't know if you want me to spoil it, because I don't know if you saw it, Joe.
I did see it, but I don't know who's listening or watching that hasn't seen it.
Well, it's been a year, so no, but yeah, it's something happened, and there's a certain line. I'll just say the line is Peacemaker. What is that?
What a joke. Yeah.
It's a joke,
Yeah.
And I think that hit him, and that developed over time. That made him rethink a lot of things. And again, James Gunn just nailed it. He did, creating Amanda Waller's daughter, which is huge. I thought that was because she doesn't have one. But giving that to her almost gives Amanda Waller a bit of humanity in a sense, but you can still tell she's like, really?
Yep.
But yeah, Obadiah, I absolutely love her. I thought she was good. And even the bond between her and Peacemaker, I thought, to me, I felt that because it's Peacemaker's yo, I just wanted a good friend. And what you did betrayed a lot of things for me that I still have to process and deal with. How does he do it?
Mm-hmm.
As a jokester. And it's such a good show, man.
Yeah. Honestly, again, I definitely, looking back on the entire season, I highly recommend this show, especially if you're a comic book fan, if you're a James Gunn fan, if you were very much into the Suicide Squad, definitely check this one out. It is very much worth your time. And for all you guys that are listening still at this point, what did you think of Peacemaker? Do you feel like they did right by the character? Do you feel like it's a worthy follow-up to the Suicide Squad? Do you feel like James Gunn did a good job bringing all this to life? Leave your thoughts in that comment section.